Imagine a world that never faced its deadliest pandemic. A world where 200 million people did not vanish from history. Where cities grew without interruption. Where kingdoms didn't collapse. Where science, art, and human progress evolved on an entirely different timeline. Today we explore one of the greatest what-ifs in history. What if the Black Death never happened? A single event reshaped humanity. Remove it, and everything changes. Let's step into this alternate timeline. Before we imagine the alternate world, we must understand the real one. The Black Death struck Europe, Asia, and North Africa between 1346 and 1353. It wiped out 30 to 60% of the European population. Cities became silent. Fields remained unharvested. Entire villages disappeared. It wasn't just death. It was the collapse of an entire social, political, and economic system. Now imagine this never happened. Let's erase the plague from history. No mass death. No economic collapse. No shock to feudal Europe. Europe in the mid-14th century would continue its growth curve. And that means crowded cities, rising populations, and massive social pressure. But what changes first? Feudalism survives longer. Peasants do not gain bargaining power. Wages stay low. Landowners remain powerful. The Black Death shattered the old hierarchy. Without it, Europe stays medieval, for longer. Without the plague, Europe's population would skyrocket. By 1500, instead of 80 million, Europe might reach 130 million or more. More people means overcrowded cities, increased famine, higher poverty, environmental stress, faster spread of other diseases. Ironically, eliminating one pandemic might lead to new ones. A population boom also means more workers, which slows down technological innovation. Machines replace humans when humans are scarce. But here labor is abundant. So Europe becomes bigger, poorer, more crowded, less innovative. The Black Death weakened the church and monarchies. Without it, the church remained strong. Kings retain absolute power. Revolts like the English peasants' revolt of 1381 might never occur. Power would remain centralized. Recovery from feudalism would slow down decades, maybe centuries. England stays feudal longer. France remains deeply tied to church authority. Italy's city-states rise more slowly. The political map of Europe becomes far more conservative. Here lies the biggest change. The Black Death indirectly fueled innovation. With fewer people, labor shortages forced inventiveness. Universities began questioning old medical theories. Scientific thinking spread faster. Without the plague, progress slows. Imagine. No rapid move toward human dissection. No early breakthroughs in medicine. Slower spread of literacy. Delayed scientific revolution. The Renaissance could be delayed by 50 to 100 years. The Renaissance emerged partly because societies were forced to rebuild after the plague. Remove the catastrophe, and the artistic explosion from Florence, Venice, and Rome arrives late. Leonardo da Vinci might be born into a different world. Michelangelo's era shifts forward. Italy remains politically fragmented longer. Patronage weakens because wealth stays in landowners' hands. Art becomes conservative. Humanism emerges slower. Cultural revolution is postponed. Here's the twist. A more crowded, poorer Europe might accelerate global exploration. Why? Because people need land, resources, wealth, new opportunities. The age of exploration may start earlier or later, depending on whether monarchies feel financially pressured. But colonialism becomes more brutal. More people equals more soldiers equals more pressure to expand. The Americas, Africa, and Asia face even larger European migration waves. So, what if the Black Death never happened? The world would be more crowded, less innovative, more conservative, slower to embrace science, faster or harsher in global expansion, later in achieving the Renaissance. The Black Death brought unimaginable suffering, yet it also broke the old world and allowed a new one to emerge. Sometimes history moves forward, not by choice, but by catastrophe. What do you think the biggest change would be? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more alternate history deep dives.